detailer to continue an established reputation that he's worked so hard to gain. He wants to continue that reputation and improve that reputation if he can possibly do it. So that's what we mean by maximizing efforts and using the proper treatment in addition to what you guys already do. And the thing that's sweet about these is that it's virtually laborless. It works while you're working on the outside of the vehicle, it's doing its job on the interior. It's virtually laborless. Except for the few seconds it takes to place it in, turn it on, and close the door and get out of there and remove it, it's laborless.
You know, not mentioning it, we were talking earlier too that I rented a car recently up in Seattle, in your neck of the woods. And although I was really impressed with the service of the rental car agency, one of the things was there was just a funk. There was something in the car that just didn't quite smell right.
Don't know who's been in that car before you.
Yeah, and it's a whole different subject. I mean, here you're going into you've got, if you're a rental company or a leasing company or something like that, is you've got clients that are trusting you to make sure that, hey, they're safe. There's a lot of stuff going around that it might not kill you, but it could make you sick or it could make you ill. My son's an asthmatic. We've talked about that. If they sprayed something that's just foo-foo cover-up perfume stuff, he's going into an attack like that. Okay, so the rental car agencies, whether you're in management of that or you're a detailer servicing that, this is really a system they can't go without, isn't it?
It's that, and you know, it's also about sanitizing too. You had just mentioned the fact that you had rented a vehicle. Most of these rental companies, they take the vehicle in, they do a quick cleanup on it as best they can, and they rent it back out again. That's how they make their money. They want a quick turnaround. Well, you don't know if the customer that was sitting in that vehicle before you may have been infected with a flu virus or something, sneezing and coughing and driving, and then the car comes right back in. It gets a quick spit shine on the outside and a quick vacuum, and you pick it up and you rent it, and you're driving along. Down the highway you go, and the next day you're wondering, gee, where did I get this cough from? Where did I get this cold from?
Exactly.
Now the sanitizing, the ozone, if it's a quality generated ozone and it is applied in the proper amounts, at the right amounts, for the proper duration, will sanitize and kill much of that bacteria and viruses that have been deposited. Again, it's a safety feature in addition to what you guys already do. It's just one extra step. And I can't say enough about it. I've got grandchildren, and I sanitize my vehicle a couple of times a month. You know, it only takes a few minutes for me.
Now, Jerry, you do jobs ranging from an interior car cabin, small stuff like what I deal with, all the way up to commercial sized buildings.
Right, I've 5,000, 8,000 square foot building. One thing that neither one of us touched on is you have to keep in mind that ozone is a gas. Ozone will go anywhere that air can go and do its job. It'll go into the places that you physically can't get into to clean, to brush, to sanitize. So it will take care of the microbes, the allergens, the germs, the bacteria, the viruses that you can't get to. They would linger in the air conditioning, heating duct,
the HVAC systems.
So I was talking about that. You guys just led into that, the HVAC systems.
Yeah, the HVAC.
Should we be running the car through a cycle and letting the ozone run its way through that system?
I believe absolutely, because unless you've found a way to be able to get into the HVAC system and all the vents and everything, get in there and clean and sanitize those, one of the best things to do is to apply ozone and run it on recirculate and allow that to go through all the ductwork, through the interior, turn over in the interior once or twice, go through the ductwork, go over the evaporator coils, and begin to destroy the biofilm, the mold substrate that builds up, and run that. And this way you've got, again, that final touch, just that one extra thing that you can do that nobody else can or does.
Is it going to cause any damage?
Absolutely not.
If it's ran correctly.
Some systems may cause damage over a long period of time. Primarily, the concerns associated with that damage are primarily corona discharge generators, which are traditionally generate ozone by spark, as opposed to an ultraviolet system that generates ozone, that does not create any of these caustic byproducts that will do any destruction.
Now that brings up a whole other topic. Today in the detailing world, in our world, when's the last day that we didn't hear the word eco used? And so, you know, how I've been billing this whole thing since I've ran into you, Rick, is that I think that we found a system that is an eco-based ozone machine.
It absolutely is. You know, it's ultraviolet light. How can you go wrong with natural light? It's just that with an ultraviolet system, with our ultraviolet systems, the ultraviolet light that we produce is produced at a very specific wavelength, normally to be between 182 and 190 nanometers. Excuse me, which puts it into the biocidal range of ultraviolet light. Completely different system than corona discharge, which is what you're probably more accustomed to.
We are. Now, and again, let's clarify that. Most of the systems that we've been using, big boxes, we'll bring that in. Again, not ragging on any other systems. It's just like steamers. We've been a propellant of using steam. You mentioned that. We'll go backwards a little bit. We've been a propellant of steamers, and I've told people for a long time, listen, a cheap steamer is better than no steamer, although you get what you pay for. And really what we're aiming at with this whole, our meeting and coming together, is after the high-end detailers like myself, the guys that are really quality-based, that have got a client base that demands that level of professionalism. We're also here to educate the rental companies and the fleet operators to some of the hazards of a improperly clean car or a not clean car, something that's left just for its own. Again, going back, we're dads, we're grandpas, all that stuff. I'm not a grandpa yet, I better not be. Ryan, you got a lot of explaining. But it comes back to where we want to do what's right. All of us as business people want to do what's right for our client base.
And you know, there's a better way now. I mean, it doesn't mean that other systems are wrong or bad or evil or anything like that, but it's just, for me, I know there's a better way. There's a better system.
You know, for us, we used extractors when I first got into this, you know, and it's like wool. Back when we grew up, when we had a car polish, they used wool polishing pads. And then in the last, you know, 12, 15 years, foam's come onto the market. We do a lot of our paint perfection with foam now. But now we've come back because the wool pads have improved so well that we're back to using a real high quality wool and finishing it up with foam. This is the same exact thing, you know. We found, again, we've been loyal to using the best steamers. We set out when we were introduced to your company to find not just a ozone machine that would work, but something that is not going to harm people or property and isn't going to thrash the environment. And I think with your systems of going with again, corona discharge, great. UV based, better, correct?
Correct. Ultraviolet will not generate some of these caustic byproducts, the nitrogens, which produce nitric oxides, which are corrosive to the interior of a vehicle or a room or anything.
And then we bring into play the carcinogenics of...
Absolutely.